Yes, it is time for a brand new episode of Gimme the Hot Sauce. We are live and rolling on YouTube, episode 106. Our special guest coming up a little bit later, a very popular Chicago radio personality, Jonathan Hood. You know him as Jay Hood. Does the show with David Kaplan on ESPN 1000. He's also the voice of the UIC Flames, so we'll talk to him about a lot of topics. He also does some good impersonations, Tim.
I've heard that.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have an impersonation off to see who can do the better job there.
Let's do this.
Yeah. So we got a challenge coming up, a little bit of talent. And Stacey, you know, I was watching the game last night, and I fell for you. You had the broadcaster's worst nightmare when your voice is a little bit hoarse, and you're trying to be excited, but you know that at any moment that voice may give out on you. And you're a trooper for doing the show tonight as well.
Well, let me tell you something, Mark. Bulls Nation, America, you do what you have to do. The show must go on.
That's right.
Okay? You give the people what they want. I show up at the game like death in Texas. I'm always going to be there. Okay?
True pro.
Listen, 17 years of broadcasting. I think I missed, before the COVID incident, I only missed like 5 games total. Yeah. So I take a lot of pride in that. Very close yesterday calling in sick because my voice was gone.
Cracking a couple
my voice
times,
was gone before I got to the arena, but I was pounding honey and water, and that really worked. I got that from a voice coach on Twitter.
Okay.
A Twitter voice coach told me to do that, and I've been doing that for like the last 5 years, and it worked.
I thought maybe you were using some of Red Kerr's old hard candy to get a little lubrication.
No, I wouldn't.
Lint.
Mark, first of all, that candy wouldn't even gone down the throat. I'd probably had to get the Heimlich maneuver to get it out.
Yeah, Adam had tried to save you at the scorer's table.
Oh man, nah, that wasn't gonna happen like that.
A leftover bit of honey from Halloween, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh man, this. You know what? Red got me onto the candy.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I just got upgraded to candy.
Right.
Because before that, I never brought, the games are 2.5, 3 hours long, depending on how the referees ref the game.
Right.
Yeah. Don't even get me started about last night.
We're going to get to that. Yeah, we're going to get to that.
But to have like little snacks and stuff, at the table. Johnny Red Kerr got me on the candy, the bag of candy, and so we started doing that, and I've kind of gotten away from it because everybody kept digging into candy.
Yeah, that's never.
So now with COVID and people's dirty hands, and Dave Cella, who
Well, you calling out Dave Cella? Okay.
Dave Cella, he sneaks into the men's bathroom, and sometimes when the bathroom's in my office in our little announcer's room, and I never hear the water run like you're washing your hands.
Yeah. And he's dipping into the candy bag.
He's dipping into the candy bag.
No.
So he was banned from the candy bag.
Yeah,
he was banned. He's banned.
Does he use
You're painting
wipes?
a pretty grim picture there.
Yeah. We know with COVID now it's kind of changed, and so now what we do is I bring like those little kind bars.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Seriously, those kind bars, they got like 10 different flavors or whatever. So at halftime, because you're hungry. At halftime, you're hungry. And shout out to my little chef, Lucy, who works at Kettle One in the United Center. Every time before the game, she brings me whatever I want to eat.
I saw that. Yeah.
Every game. I call her if I want salmon, it's there. Sauteed spinach, whatever I want, she'll make it for me, which is awesome. She's been doing it for like the last 3 years. And it's always on time. Shout out to Chef Mike, because he's the one behind all that. So they take good care of me at the United Center.
You've been watching for the last couple of months. We have a brand new production crew, the Sriracha crew, and they're all looking at us like we don't know what we're talking about. You remember the days when we were kids, you go to grandma's house and they had that bowl of hard candy?
Yeah.
It's all stuck together.
Yeah, they don't know about that kind of stuff, man. They listen, this generation, what is it called? Generation X?
Yeah.
They don't know anything about
Everything's
that.
prepackaged.
Yeah.
Take care of you. They take care of the kids now.
Yeah,
Back in the old days, you just fend for yourself.
Individually wrapped. Their parents put their names on it. Here you go, right here, Nick. This is your candy. And we just had to fend for ourselves.
And that stuff would be sitting on the table, and not just candy, but like when you go to a party or Christmas thing, there'd be like plates of hors d'oeuvres and stuff, and it'd be sitting out there. I remember once when I was a kid grabbing something I thought was going to be really tasty, and it was like cauliflower and a cabbage or something. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Hey, I remember as a kid how excited I used to be to go to a buffet to eat. On a Sunday, everybody's going to the buffet. All right, we're going to get whatever you want, And as you get older, you start thinking about all the germs that people you know, all the germs that people reaching over
yeah.
trying to grab things, you know,
With those Dave Moczalla hands.
coughing over the potatoes. You know, when you're a kid, you don't think of that.
It's
You're
great,
like, oh, this is great. I get
as much as I want.
I get this as much as I want. But as you got older and you start having kids, it's like, well, this is disgusting. Like, I'm not going to any, like when you take your kids in these baseball tournaments, right?
Yeah.
Or you go to these, you know, your kids play baseball, football, and you go to these AAU tournaments and you're staying in like the Courtyard Marriott or something. Everybody goes out to eat. Yeah. And so you try to make it affordable for everybody. So when I took my teams out to eat, we'd go eat at the buffets, but I would never eat there. Like me and my kids would go somewhere else. I just showed them how to get there. I showed them how to get there. You guys have a good night. I'll see y'all at the hotel when it's swim night and we're in the pier, sit out and drink beer.
There you go.
You remember when toothpicks were unwrapped?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, imagine that. You're sticking it right back in your teeth.
Oh, my goodness. If you're watching at home while you're eating dinner, we apologize. We didn't mean to get on that tangent, but that's where we go.
Dip,
you
remember?
never
Double
know.
dip.
Oh, yeah,
You used to double dip.
Yeah.
People did, you know, chip in,
Sure.
you know, ranch or whatever, you know. Everybody's having a good time.
But
now you
flipping ain't double dipping.
Oh, but now, Tim, shut your ass up. And now, like, you would never, ever
you
do
wouldn't even
it.
think about it.
You never do it.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. You used to, like, your friend have a soda and pass it to you. Hey, take a drink.
Yeah,
you
try
know?
this.
You
Yeah.
weren't even worried about backwash or any of that stuff. As you got older and you see somebody drinking a beer, you want some?
Yeah.
And you see all the backwash out of it, like, no, I'll wait for another one. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you get something that's prepackaged. Make sure I hear the twist off. You know,
You got to hear it twist off.
Yeah.
The wrapper's open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are some safety guidelines, courtesy of Gimme the Hot Sauce.
Man code violations.
We're going to talk a little basketball. And one of the points that Stacey's been bringing up in numerous broadcasts and in the crossover when you're talking with the guys in the studio is that the Bulls need to learn how to finish. I saw an interesting stat last night that the Bulls right now are the only team in the NBA that have not gotten a win in a close game. They call it clutch games, which are being within 5 points with 5 minutes to go. The Bulls are 0-6 in that category. Last year, they were third in the NBA. They won like 25 games that way. And that's the difference between having a really good season and a bad season. You got to win those close games.
Well, and that's the difference of being a first-round exit or being able to go deep into the playoffs. You know, last year's problem was the Bulls couldn't beat the good teams. You know, everybody kept talking about that. They didn't have a winning record. You know, this year they're beating the good teams, but they're also losing games that they should not be losing down the stretch. And I've always said this about this team this year so far. You know, 5 minutes to go in the game, that's when everything has to be clicking. You know, defensively, you got to know your assignments. Offensively, you got to, you can't make risk plays. And the risk play is making a pass that you know is a little dangerous instead of making the basic fundamental play. Because at the end of the day, Mark, it's about getting the win. We're not worried about how it looks and style points. You're trying to get the win. And some of the turnovers that you're seeing this team make, even last night, you left you scratching your head. I mean, we can sit up there. Listen, the officiating was bad. I'm not going to sit here and lie. It was, some of the calls were questionable. Some of those calls should have been reviewed. I mean, there were obvious fouls. You know, Patrick Williams going in for a dunk, gets hit on the arm. That was an obvious foul. I mean, Stevie Wonder was yelling foul from his couch. So, that was, but we don't want to blame the officials. We're not going to blame the officials because the Bulls still had an opportunity to win that game. They have to start learning how to close these games out because you're a veteran team. There's a lot of veterans on this team now. You know, that's one thing they have this year is veterans. So, they're going to have to learn how to close things out. What's a good shot? Who's got it going? And I still believe, and I'm going to continue to say this, Vooch has got to get inside. He's got to post up. He was early in the season, he was dominating. And then his outside game was really good too. But he was really making a sorted effort to get into the paint. The last few games, since Drummond's been out, he's been more on the perimeter. And that's kind of hurt the Bulls. And when you're last 5 minutes of the game, that's where you need him in the post. You need to be able to get something good, whether it be, 5-foot jump hook or him getting fouled or double teamed, kicking the ball out to a wide open shooter. And they've kind of gotten away from that.
Basketball, obviously, especially at the NBA level, is all about matchups. And late in the game, the Bulls were going with a lineup with Vooch and 4 guards out there. And New Orleans was able to take advantage of that. I mean, they had Brandon Ingram in clear-out ISO situations guarded by either Caruso or Zach, and he's shooting right over the top of him. And no fault to those guys. They're doing the best they can, but they're giving up 5 inches to a guy who's a great mid-range scorer.
Well, listen, that game was predicated in the beginning that the Bulls did such a good job defensively on Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram in the first 3 quarters. But in the fourth quarter, I always say this, stars will step up when you need them the most. And, Brandon Ingram did it, and so did Zion Williamson. They both got more aggressive. They got more calls, and they started taking it to the Bulls. And, the thing about Ingram is that he's kind of like a poor man's Kevin Durant. He's got a good mid-range game, not a deadly mid-range game, but he's got a very decent mid-range game. And he hit a big 3. He hit some tough shots. I mean, Patrick Williams, as much as people are down on Patrick Williams, I don't think he had 5 points in that game. He did a great job defensively on both those guys. So, I would love to see Patrick score more. But also in that game last night, he wasn't in the game in the fourth quarter, which I thought he should have been because of his defense and his length.
And in those situations, if you're going to put Patrick in, then he's going to be guarding either Zion or Ingram. You're still going to have a guard on the other guys. So, the Bulls are in a situation now because they are a perimeter-based team with a lot of guards that are in the rotation. They're going to be matchup situations like that, and the good teams with taller front lines can take advantage of that.
Well, and again, the Bulls need to understand not to be putting yourself in that situation. I mean, the game was nip and tuck. I mean, there was a lot of lead changes last night. Both teams had substantial leads, and the other team came back, and it was a nip and tuck. And one thing that New Orleans did, they're one of the best team at pounding the paint. One of the best teams at points in the paint, and they stayed to who they were. They were true to who they were. Let's get in the paint. Let's pound them. I thought Valanciunas, they came out early, established Valanciunas in the paint, and that got them going a little bit because he was the one when the other 2 guys were struggling, and C.J. McCollum was struggling too. So their top 3 guys were struggling. Valanciunas was the one that kept him in the game with his post play and his rebounding. And so once the other guys caught up, now Valanciunas has got you going, and so now in the fourth quarter you need your stars to step up, which they did.
Whispers, you remember Sam Perkins, played for the Lakers
Big
in Indiana?
Smooth.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I tweeted yesterday's game that Brandon Ingram reminded me of sleepy Sam Perkins because his eyes were just kind of like little slits. Yeah. And then somebody responded, they go, well, Pot will do that for you. So you got any recommendations to the listeners? You can tell them how Pot might affect you?
Well, if they go on the chat, I'll give out my number, and I can hook them up with some stuff. And they'll have the same slitty eyes.
Oh, my God. Wow.
So you're not only selling hot sauce now, you've got some connections in other products.
Well, as you said before, Mark, the 6 degrees of whispers, and sometimes
you know a guy is what you're saying?
I got a guy.
All right.
He's got a guy.
Well, that's good
that
to know.
knows a guy. That knows a guy.
He might be in this room.
Oh, here he is right here.
Oh.
Snoop, welcome to the show.
My
He's back
man.
for a second week.
What it do?
A couple people mentioning on the chat they like the new edition.
Yes, what it do?
Usually he's more talkative. I just don't get it.
It's the slim cans.
We
You better
need
ask
slim-
somebody.
Yes, you better ask somebody. Exactly, Mark. Yeah.
Caribbean breeze.
Let's
strong knees.
get back to basketball. Obviously, the Bulls have had a brutally tough schedule in terms of the number of back-to-backs, 3 games in 4 nights. Now they get a chance to decompress a little bit. Obviously, everybody got a day off today, except for Stacey, who's working, testing the vocal cords. But this is going to help to space out the games a little bit, get some practice time in there, and hopefully that means you get Zach every game, and maybe you get some more chemistry and continuity from night to night.
Well, we're not going to see back-to-backs for about another month,
Yeah.
and it was brutal. Like we've already had 4 sets of back-to-back games, which I think is the most in the NBA right now. As you can see, the schedule is brutal. We'd have a game, day off, have a game, day off. Last week, travel to Brooklyn, game, come back, fly, play Charlotte, and then go back out to the East Coast and play Boston and Toronto, which was a brutal trip. Okay, and then you got to go through customs, brutal trip. Shout out to Chicago Customs, though. They do a good job of getting us through.
Took care of you? That's good.
Yeah, good job, guys. They got us in, got us out. But we did, I will say this, somebody lost their passport. I think his name is Nico Tan. He works for the Bulls. He lost his passport. And so we got into Toronto at like 2:30. Our bus, because we have 3 buses. So our bus, the media bus that has all of us on there and some of the, Bulls workers, like the trainers and stuff on the bus. Well, we had to stay an extra almost 2 hours so we could find Nico's his passport, and we didn't know why we were staying there. No one told us. I mean, I was trying to summons an Uber. I tried to call Uber, and Uber said, "Well, we don't come out there." Like, what do you mean you don't come out here? It's like, we don't come out that far. I'm like, wow. So we didn't get to the hotel until 4:30 in the morning, which we had the day off, which it messes your whole day up because now you're going to bed because it takes you an hour to wind down from being on the plane and the game. So you're going to bed at 5:30, 6 o'clock. That's probably why my voice is gone right now, America. But you know what? I'm not making any complaints.
You sound like the top 10 sexiest man in Montana.
Thank you. You know what? Girls like the scratchy voice. Matter of fact, the People magazine is already out. You know, Chris Evans beat me.
There you go.
Yeah, Chris. No, that's the Montana.
That's Montana edition.
But I had the new People magazine came out. And, Chris Evans beat me. Chris Evans beat me. But I am on page 76. Okay, so I want you guys to look it up.
Only by 38 million votes. It was close.
This is what I'm talking about right here. So you need support. My voice is gone, America. I need support from Whispers.
That's close.
Whispers, this is the most I've ever heard Whispers talk in 2 years. It's pretty scary, too.
You guys have that shot of Christopher Walken in the airport?
Yeah, shows Christopher Walken.
If you're watching on YouTube.
Weekend at Christopher's.
I know you've enjoyed Whispers doing his Walken impersonations, but we actually found a photo of Walken traveling, and we were just wondering,
I think they took him to a taxidermy.
and first of all, why isn't he in some high-class lounge? What's he doing sitting with the paying customers over there? What's going on? What's going on, Chris?
Look at that.
Well, it's always best to, if you're going to carry skulls through an airport, is act as if you're in couch. So that's what I was doing. No one understood what I was passing through.
Who are the people on either side of you? What are their functions?
They're what they call ducks.
What does that mean?
Distractions, decoys. You have to have a few with you.
I thought maybe the lady on your right was like your taste tester.
Well, I thought it was a blood transfusion. Trying to keep him alive. It was like Lestat the vampire off Interview with the Vampire.
There was too much sun that day, but I was all right.
If you're just listening to the audio of this, what we're showing on the screen is a shot of Christopher Walken, who's made more money than God, is sitting in an airport, obviously in some kind of coach section alongside two paying customers, and he looks totally lost. Have you suffered brain damage, Christopher?
No, if you look at the look on my face, it's a new script from Netflix. I couldn't believe what they're asking me to do. The sex scenes. I mean,
oh my God.
Do they know how old I am?
Oh my God. 79.
Thank you. I didn't need to be reminded.
Why would you allow people to sit that close to you?
I told you, they were my decoys. God damn, don't you listen? Get the wax out of your ears. There's free Q-tips at the club.
This man is insane.
Oh, the multi-talented Timmy Whispers. Yeah, we're going to see if Jay Hood can, what kind of impersonations he's got, because I've heard some good ones over the years. This could be a lot of fun in our next segment. But before that, let's talk a little more, and no, we're going to do a sponsor read first.
Yes, let's do it.
When it comes to insurance for your auto, home, and business, make sure you contact the king of insurance, nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. I thought Stacey was going to hand it over to Adam last night, but he didn't.
No,
he powered through. Can you do it again for the people?
Nationwide is on your side.
Wow.
Did you hear that, Montana?
This is why I was the sexiest man in Montana, right here, because I show up and I deliver, okay? Yeah. I show up and I deliver, and that's what I do, America. I do that for you, Bulls Nation. I do that for you and all our loyal listeners. I'm sick. Not really sick. I just got a cold.
Scratchy voice.
Just a scratchy voice right now, and I left my little hot tea, and we don't have hot tea and things here. We just have beer.
Hey, beer will do it.
We don't have anything to drink to loosen up the vocal cords, so we just have beer.
Wow.
Never underestimate the power of beer. That's what I always say.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies.
Hey, a couple of NBA topics before we bring in Jay Hood. Stacey, would you rather talk about the Brooklyn Nets and Kyrie or the Lakers and LeBron?
I'm tired of talking about Lakers and LeBron. Okay? Right. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the coverage they get. They suck.
He hurt his groin last night, so he may be out a couple of games.
I don't really want to know about that, Mark. That's
personal life.
I want to hear about somebody's groin being
too
hurt.
much information.
Yeah, TMI, man. No, the Brooklyn Nets. I think they're gonna break that team.
Yeah,
up. I think that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna try to get as much as they can for these two stars. Ben Simmons. Oh man, Ben Simmons needs to be hypnotized. Seriously, they need to get a hypnotist and get him, because he does not look the same player like he was. He has no confidence in his game. He won't even shoot a layup. It's almost like Chuck Knobloch. Remember, he had
he
the
couldn't throw.
ips. What do they call the ips when he throw the ball to first base from second base? He couldn't do it, and he throw it like into the third row, and he had to go to see somebody to talk about it. I think Ben Simmons needs that. I mean, he does not look, and you don't want to see anybody have mental health issues,
right?
But you can clearly see that he's not right. You can clearly
Tony
see
Robbins.
Jeez, here we have a serious moment, and then this guy interjects something in like Tony
Hey,
Robbins.
it's like shallow hell. Use some hypnotism.
Oh my God! But Mark. Before I was really interrupted by the guy to my left. He definitely needs some help. Like, he's just not the same. Kyrie, listen, we've come to a point in society where opinions now, you don't have an opinion on anything. You're going to be judged on everything you say. Okay. And it's sad. It's sad, that we've gotten to that point where you're canceling cultures and you're canceling because you don't like what someone says. I don't condone what he said and how he said it, but there's so many things out there that is so going on with so many people that deserve more attention too. The Brett Favre stealing money and to build a volleyball court for his daughter and, lying about it.
Now he's hawking products that he stole money.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many people doing so many different things out there that need to be talked about. Again, I don't condone what Kyrie said or what he believes in, but at the end of the day, it's his personal thoughts, what he believes in, and whether anyone thinks it's right or wrong, it's what he believes. And I think had he just came out and apologized, I think it would have, from the very get-go and explained what he was talking about, I think it would have been water under the bridge. But since he was defiant in that role and basically saying, I'm not apologizing, and then you were forced to apologize when they said they're going to suspend you. And then I think the biggest thing I take away from this, when the Brooklyn Nets said to him, you need to do 6 things before you come back. And I just think that's crazy.
Yeah, and he's not going to do it.
I mean, look. He donate $500,000. Okay, sensitivity training. Yeah. I mean, this is really a lot,
Especially for someone who likes to dig his heels in like Kyrie.
Yeah, and it's basically you're basically you're telling him like you're gonna do what we tell you to do. Here's the 6 things. If you want to come back, we'll do this. Kyrie could say, you know what, I'm retiring. Trade me. I'm not doing these things. I mean. Well, all this stuff that he said here, I mean the sensitivity training. I mean, there's a lot of things people say every day. I mean, look at the politicians. Yeah. Some of the things they say.
Right.
Dude, are they going to sensitivity training? No, they're not. Yeah. No, they're not. Okay. Things Trump says. Is he going to sensitivity training? No. People who say racist taunts and on Twitter. Twitter now has just gotten crazy. Twitter's gotten crazy. Like,
we got new management in charge.
Well, you know what? They've lost control of Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, some of the things I'm seeing that come up on timeline, like, I'm like, oh my, I'm just deleting it because it's just so offensive. And now people feel like they can say now that Elon Musk has taken over, like, hey, now all those people who couldn't say all those things now are able to say those things now. And it's just a nasty cycle.
Do you think Kyrie's played his last game with the Brooklyn Nets?
I think so. I think it's listen, he didn't want to be there anyway, and this is even before, this situation. He didn't want to be there. He wanted to be traded from the very get start. And what did I tell you before the season started? That they were going to implode because there was a lot of people's feelings hurt. Durant got his feelings hurt because he wanted to be traded. And the owner basically told both of them, you're under contract, you're staying here, get used to it. And remember, we applauded the owner. We were like, yeah, that's great. Finally, an owner standing up to players, But they made it so miserable there. Nobody wants to be on that team. And they had a pretty good team. Even if all those guys are healthy, if they weren't, going through all this junk off the court, they would have a pretty good team.
And for Bulls fans who are worried about where they're shaking up in the Eastern Conference right now, they're currently the 6th seed, even with a 6-7 record, because a couple of teams have gotten off to slow starts. Both Philadelphia and Miami are under 500. Then you go over to the West. Golden State, the defending champions, are 4-7. The Lakers are 2-8. It's been kind of a topsy-turvy start to the NBA season. A couple of surprise teams in the West. The Utah Jazz with 10 wins, with our old buddy Lauri Markkanen leading the way, and Portland. The Bulls own Portland's first-round pick if they make the playoffs. They're 8-3. So a couple of real surprise teams out west.
Well, I mean, this is typical of the NBA. You have some young upstart teams with a lot of fresh legs It always has been like, even when I played, it's always been this way. Teams with the younger players always jump out. They have more energy. They seem to play together better early on. The veteran teams take a while. You know, they're going to win some games, they're going to lose some games. But a lot of the good teams, if you look at in the NBA, a lot of the good teams are losing. I mean, they're
Golden State to be 4-7.
Golden State can't win on the road.
They lost 4 in a row out there.
But the problem with Golden State is, Mark, their starting lineup is plus 24 when they're on the floor together. Okay, so they're blowing teams out. They're having a problem with their bench. Yeah. They have to decide, okay, how are we going to do this? Because these guys coming off the bench are not coming off the bench with the purpose of winning the game. It's like, okay, I got to get mine. I got to get mine. I got to get mine. So Steve Kerr's got his job cut out because your starters, again, are plus 24, and they're playing well together. The bench is what's really killing you. You have a huge drop-off when you bring that bench. The Bulls are very fortunate that they have a great bench. Their bench has been solid all year long. Last night was one of the nights they didn't really play particularly well, but pretty much consistently their bench is good. You get Drummond back now, and to put him in that second group, and that'll push Vooch to play at a different level now. See, Vooch didn't have anyone behind him. It was like, who are you going to play behind me? You know, Derrick Jones Jr., play small ball center. Now you got a legitimate starter in Drummond, and you saw that in the beginning of the year. It made Vooch play because now if Vooch doesn't come out and play hard or whatever and he's not making shots or he's not contributing on the defensive end, you say, hey, let's move Drummond in the game and let's go, you know.
I know we talked a little bit about this last week, but people are throwing stones all over the NBA at the Bulls for not fully developing Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen was hurt a lot during his time with the Bulls. He also had 3 different coaches, from Fred Hoiberg to Jim Boylan to Billy Donovan, and things were constantly changing all around him. He had his second year in the NBA. Remember that month of February? We averaged like 26 and 12. There were signs that there could be an all-star player there, and I'm sure he's getting more freedom playing with the Jazz right now because they're kind of in a rebuilding situation. What do you think about Lauri? I mean, I like the kid.
I've always said this kid had all-star potential. Yeah. It was just here. I thought Jim Boylan took his confidence away. You know, I think his first year under Fred Hoiberg, he exploded. You see this kid who can shoot the basketball, shoot 3 from distance. Of course, you'd like to see him post up more. But a lot of these coaches' offenses is all 3-point driven. You know, so you got a big guy like that. Instead of developing him and teaching him how to play in the post and being, you know, having that part of his game be as strong as it is on the perimeter, what you see him doing now is what I've always said he should be doing. I think he's a small forward. Just because he's 7 feet tall doesn't mean he's got to be a 4 or 5. I've always thought he was a small forward. Cleveland was the first team that said, hey, you know what? We're going to play him at the 3.
Yeah.
And they made the playoffs last year with that big front line, and he really thrived. People say, well, you know, defensively you lose a lot with him playing the 3. Why would you? He's 7 feet. All I need you to do, I don't need you to lead the league in steals. What I need you to do is play defense, deny your man the ball, and then take a step off, shade him to a help defender, and then use your length to contest the shot.
Right.
And if you do that and stay between your man and the basket, we're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see what they've been able to do. And people are like, well, Utah is just trying to tank to get Victor Wembanyama, but they've got some players on that team. It's not just Lowry. You know, they made the trade with Cleveland.
On there.
Colin Sexton came over. Jordan Clarkson.
The Clarkson 6 man. You
Mike
got Mike Conley's still there. You got Taylor Horton or THT.
Tucker, Kelley Olynyk is playing center.
They got some good role players, complementary pieces, guys that know how to play. Kelley Olynyk is a very good, high basketball IQ big man. Lowry's just playing with so much confidence. You go back to his Finnish team this year. He led his Finnish team the last couple of years, and he's been a star on that team. So, it doesn't surprise me that he's playing well. I think it surprised a lot of Bulls fans because, guys tend to leave here and they develop somewhere else, and that's the bad thing. That's what you're going to have with Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City has all this young talent, a wealth of young talent. They got all these picks. But they're not going to be able to keep these guys when they get to the point where it's time to pay them.
Right.
And so Oklahoma City's developing players for other teams, and that's what you see sometimes happen.
Hey, Whispers, you've been busy in the closet packing up hot sauce these days. Can you tell the folks how they get some of that delicious hot sauce?
Are you serious?
You don't have to do it as Christopher Walken. You can do it as yourself. That may be worse.
Nobody wants a boring Tim.
I thought we were going to hear Mike. I thought we were going to hear Mike Tyson impersonation.
Yeah, he's here. Can I bring him in?
Yeah, bring him in.
Sure.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It's Mike, the Champ Tyson here, and I just want to say thank you for inviting me to the show. Are you looking to score the hottest sauce in the game? It's ludicrous how hot that hot sauce is. All right, Mike.
First of all,
you can't just feel off like that.
First of all, even look, hey, look.
Christopher Walken's rolling over in his grave.
Snoop just fell out.
Yeah.
Snoop doesn't even want to hear it.
Snoop's like, hey, it ain't gonna go.
You guys ruined it for me.
Snoop just said, "Hey."
It was ruined before we said anything.
Snoop says, "I'm not even high, and this is terrible." Oh my God.
You guys ruined it. That look just destroyed it. They just took me right out of it.
Go ahead, man. It's your show. Go ahead.
All right, we'll just go with the Whispers voice.
All right, Whispers.
Thank you.
After you killed it. From Chicago Fire, 1871, the hottest of the bunch, to the King's favorite, St. Pat's Paradise. Give Me the Hot Sauce has got you covered. Stop by GimmeTheHotSauce.com and use King21 to get your 20% off your first order.
And each package personalized with love from
Yes,
Timmy
with
Whispers.
love.
Yeah.
With both hands.
Yeah.
With both hands.
I put in toothpicks that are unwrapped as well.
Strong grip.
Give me the hot sauce.
That's right.
Hey, our special guest, Jay Hood, in the Sriracha waiting room. That's next on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Welcome back, episode 106 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. It's now our pleasure to welcome in a very popular Chicago radio personality, Jonathan Hood. You hear him with David Kaplan mornings on ESPN 1000. He's the voice of the UIC Flames. I got a chance to see him out doing some Windy City Bulls games in past years, but his schedule just got too big. He became too big, and now he can't do those games anymore. You're like Dan Jiggets in the old days, where he said he had like 8 jobs. Is that about right?
Hey, Mom.
Well, hey, listen. I learned this a long time ago from Jigs. It's about multiple revenue streams. So it's the money that pays for the mortgage and the car note, and the rest goes in the sock. That way the wife doesn't know what that extra money is. She knows I'm working those jobs.
Right.
But some of those she doesn't know how much I'm making. And that's the key. That's the key, young people listening.
The key is if you get paid in cash too. That'd be nice.
Oh, absolutely. You think I do direct deposit, Mark?
Yeah.
Come on now. Check in the hand. Stacey, you tell him, man, that you get that check in hand.
Yes.
That's how that works.
Yes, exactly. So you've been watching the Bulls so far this season. Give us your take on the Bulls and the early going of what you've seen.
Oh, just early, for everybody. I think the first thing is I didn't know what Zach was going to be like and how well he'd play. I just didn't expect the maintenance so soon for him. And so I had to adjust to that and said, okay, he'll play the lion's share of the games, but for me to see him every night, apparently that's not going to happen. And I'm okay with that because I do like the depth of the team. I think that there is a maturity that has to come with Patrick Williams. I'm already a fan of Ayo Dosunmu. He looks like someone we've seen before. You sure he hasn't played in the league before? As smooth as he is, you sure he hasn't? Is an old 6-7 year vet that's been around for a while. I like the smoothness of his game, and then what's to come with him. So I think that when people tell me, the Bulls are gonna have a hard time without Ball, I said, well, until Ball comes back, I'm only focused on the roster at this point in time. And so I just look forward to the young guys developing on this team. That will tell a greater story than DeRozan and Levine, because I know what some of those guys can do. The young players, that's where my focus is in the first half of the season.
We just were talking about the fact that some of the NBA standings look like they're turned upside down, with Utah and Portland at the top of the West. Cleveland obviously off to a great start in the Eastern Conference, but Golden State's 4-7. The Lakers are 2-8. You see in the East, Philadelphia and Miami have losing records right now. It's very, very early, so a lot of these things are gonna balance out. But what's caught your attention in terms of some of the teams that are either surprisingly good or surprisingly bad early on? So
let's start with Utah, because Danny Ainge, I know that he's having an upset stomach, because that's not supposed to happen, right? This whole thing where, and something else about Utah too, I've seen them play 3 times, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing a Utah team, the style of play is different than what I'm used to, right? We've seen them pack it in the lane or, inside out. I see a free-flowing offense with Utah. And again, I don't know how sustainable that is, but I like what I see from them the way they get up and down the floor. And again, this is supposed to be a team that's tanking, that's supposed to be building for the future. And all of a sudden, those proud veterans on that team's like, no, we're actually, we don't know what your plan is, but our plan is to play hard every night. I like that. I like the team we just saw in the Pelicans. After a while, Stan Van Gundy's in the position and it didn't work out. Willie Green comes in there. And even from the playoffs last year to what we see now, I just like the length of New Orleans. When you see them walk into the gym, you see them, you say, boy, you got Valanciunas, you got Zion, just like, Ingram, who I'm a big fan of. So I like that team as well. And, the underachievers, again, it's early. Philadelphia won't be where they are right now.
Right.
Some of the teams that are under 500 should be able to get back on top. But I like the idea that we go into the season, guys, and we're not sure exactly what we're going to see. I like the, somewhat parity early in the league.
You talked about a little bit earlier about Patrick Williams, and he seems to be a lightning rod for everybody. Everyone's expectations are so high for this kid, and they're so a lot of people are disappointed. I'm a big fan. I think that people need to temper it a little bit, understand that he's 20 years old. He's playing with a lot of veterans where he has to defer a lot to, and he's learning how to play with those guys because he's one of these guys, Jay Hood, is that, when you talk to him, you can just tell he's a real easygoing guy, real quiet, real, introverted per se, And I think because he's a number 4 pick, and I think everybody thinks because you're number 4 pick, you're supposed to be this world beater, and it's not happening. But I watched him last night defensively. He locked down Ingram. He locked down Zion Williamson when he guarded him. And then when they took him off him in the fourth quarter, those guys got off.
Right. And so this is the problem overall in not just sports, but society. Just too impatient. We don't have time for development. We need to know today. I'm sorry. We didn't know yesterday, day before yesterday. Is Patrick Williams a guy? Yes or no? When I look at all the young players, whether it's the Blackhawks or the Bulls or the White Sox, Cubs, Bears, we see guys that are 23 and younger. Those are the players that get on the sports TV shows. And those are the ones that talk so much about, I need to know right now, is Justin Fields the guy right now? Yes or no? Same thing with Patrick Williams, right? Same thing. It's like Patrick Williams is a young player that's going to develop. There's a reason why that he's on this Bulls team. On a very deep Florida State team, he's a 6th man. And people were looking at that and saying, and clapping back at that and saying, he wasn't a starter. What's he going to do? You see the raw talent, and you just have to wait. I mean, the idea that someone is drafted and all of a sudden that person is supposed to develop right now, that's a major problem in our sports society. You have to wait for a player to develop. There are very few that are special, but the ones that have put the time in, that can work 2-3 years to where they need to be, those are the ones you wait for. Maybe I'm old school, but I'm patient enough to wait for some of our young guys, all our sports teams that we talk about, to develop. People look at Justin Fields and say, why aren't you a Pro Bowler? Why aren't you leading the team? Well, because it takes time to learn when you're a young player. But more so than any other sport in the NBA, people try to get away with that. A guy comes out of high school, comes from Ignite, comes from college for a year, and that person immediately is supposed to lead a team to a title. I just think that's unfair.
Speaking of patience and time, Jay Hood, obviously you're a veteran of the Chicago media market. You've worked at both sports radio outlets. You've done play-by-play work. You've been on the grind doing all different kinds of time slots, and now you're doing that early morning shift. Talk about your career and some of the sacrifices you've had to make to get where you are today.
Yeah, I think when I got married in 2000, I told my wife, I said, there's going to be a third person in our marriage. She says, I don't do that. I said, no, not that. I said, it's my career. It's my passion. So along with our relationship, the number one passion I had before you was broadcasting and being on the air. And she understood that because she works at NBC as well. So I had to try to align myself with someone that understands the grind and understands that, our schedules can be very unpredictable. And so that's why 22 years later, we're still together. And so for that, the grind has been rewarding because I didn't come here and just started doing, mornings 20 years ago. It was the grind of doing a lot of late nights, a lot of Bulls post-game shows. And I love those shows. But when the bell rang for this company with Good Karma, and they asked me to be teamed with David Kaplan doing mornings, it was definitely a culture shock because I didn't see myself as a morning show host.
Right.
I saw myself as just grinding and having fun on the air. But to be able to do mornings has just been great. It's been since '91 since I've been in the business, and I'm having probably the most fun now. I had a couple of times I had fun in my career. I work with Stacey King. People don't know Stacey and I were a broadcast team on NBA radio. So Stacey would have those long nights on the road and come in, and he and I would chop it up and have fun doing radio on Sirius XM. That was fun. My time at ESPN has been fun as well. So it's all been rewarding. I'm having a lot of fun.
I always remember the late night stuff though too, because I'd be driving home from the game and I'd jump on the show. He's hey, come and jump on the show with me. I'm like, I'm cool. I mean, he played the good music.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun, and it was always lighthearted. It was always lighthearted, and it was just really fun to get on his show. Anytime Jay Hood says, "Hey, you want to come on my show?" I'm jumping on it because he's one of the best in the business, and he knows his stuff. And it's an honor to work with him. And you're a true Chicago legend. And my check should be in the mail for giving you all this.
Of course, of course, absolutely. I appreciate that. I love those Bulls post game shows because Steve Cashel would come on the flagship when we had it on ESPN 1000. And, he'd say, we just got to work harder, but things will turn around. It's going to be great. Well, Jay Hood's coming up next with the post-game show, and we would just cross paths, and I go, Steve, here comes the real post-game show. Here comes the hammer now. Steve Cashel's one of the greatest guys.
Yes.
I swear. I love Steve Cashel's a great guy, but he'd always have that optimistic touch on the Bulls. Like we can get our ass whooped, and he'd still, well, there is always tomorrow. It's gonna be great. And I'd say, excuse me, Steve. Here we go. Here we go. And so we always had a fun time doing those Bulls post-game shows. It just I've always felt, Mark, that whatever, I think one of the hallmarks of my career is just being able to tell the audience the truth. We're in a big market. We got to tell everybody the truth. And the hope is that after we get it all out, that it gets better the next game and the next day.
When I first heard the news that you were going to be paired with David Kaplan, I'm kind of scratching my head going, I wonder how this is going to work out, because I worked with Cap for 14 years over at NBC Sports Chicago. Great guy. Bit of a flip-flopper at times, and
Yes.
I know you don't suffer that easily. So how have you dealt with, he kind of rides that roller coaster, where he loves somebody and then he hates somebody, and he loves somebody and then he hates somebody. So how does that work on a daily basis for you two?
It works fine. In my contract, you're not aware. It's not in the media trades, as we'd say. In my contract, I'm supposed to keep him in line. It's in very, very fine print, but I'm supposed to keep him in line. And so that's one of the things I'm supposed to do with him. No, but I've known Cap for 15, 20 years. When he's at WGN, we see each other at games. So I've known him for a long time. So I know his tendencies to be an emotional Chicago sports fan. But you got to know, Mark, at the time that we were put together in August of 2020, very difficult time in our city, in our country, because of COVID. And the program director at the time told us, he goes, well, here you go, guys. No sports going on, but make people smile. Like no one's going to work, and you could roll a bowling ball down State Street and hit nobody, right? That's how. But,
I remember
but
those
we're
days.
going to work, right? And so put smiles on people's faces, have fun. And so I think that we took a different approach by saying, hey, man, we can't do the hard sports and piss everybody off, and just there's a way that we can just gently get into these shows because people are going through a hard time. And so I think that gave us a different approach and a great launching point to really get comfortable in our show. And for us, we talk sports, but we talk about life too. I think that combination that we have, his style and my style, it's starting to mesh in a great way, and we're seeing some great success lately.
Let's switch gears and talk about my guy I've been talking about all year long, Justin Fields. I've been telling from day one, Jay Hood, I've been saying, take the training wheels off this kid and let him just spin it, let him use his athleticism, just let him run. I mean, early in the season, I thought the offense was tailored for Andy Dalton still. you know, or Sid Luckman or whoever. Okay.
Sid Luckman. Leather helmets.
Yeah. And finally, the last few weeks, they've turned him loose and they let him play. And everybody's talking about him now. What is your take on it?
Well, you can draw a line of demarcation from the Washington game to where we are right now. In that, the first, I would say, 4 or 5 games of the season, it was, Justin, I need you to look down this receiver, number 1, number 2, number 3, and if you don't see anything, you got to run. I think now, over the last 3 games, and again, the Bears have lost 2 out of their last 3, 5 of their last 6 or something like that. The point is, though, is that the last 3 games, we're seeing Justin Fields having to run out of the pocket, and rightfully so. That gives an opportunity for the offensive line to be able to block, and it also gives Justin an opportunity to see the running lanes. Do I want him to run for 157 yards a game? No, because that's not the game. But what I do want him to do is feel comfortable enough to run when he has to. And so the last 3 games, not only that, but also finding Darnell Mooney down the field. I'm so happy that that's happening, because with some young people, not Justin, but there's some young people, it's like, man, will we ever win a game? Man, I just can't figure out what's going on with this offense. But if you notice, with each press conference, Mark, have you seen this? When he first was doing press conferences, slouching in the chair,
Oh, yeah.
very curt, 6-second answers. And now, even in losses, he's sitting up straight and he's like, you know what? Here's what we need to do offensively, and this is how good I feel about it. So you can see the confidence raising in a big way with Justin Fields, even in losses, because he's duking it down the field. He's running with the football. So I think he sees light at the end of the tunnel. But the way they had him before, they want him to be the classic quarterbacks, get chained in the pocket like he did Mitch Trubisky, quite frankly. And now look what's happening. He's able to do both, run and throw the football. I think he'll get better as time progresses.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because I mentioned to my wife, they got to get him some media training, because I was at a preseason game, and as you said, he was looking down the whole time during the post-game press conference and not making any eye contact, and he was basically, you know how we are in the media, you know, we want to root for the local guys, but if they're not going to help us out, they can get buried. And he was kind of falling into that trap. And I'm so glad to see, because my daughter went to Ohio State, so I saw every game that he played, and I'm rooting for the kid. And it's so great to see him not only having success, but also understanding the trappings that comes with being an NFL quarterback.
I guess if you were getting your ass kicked, you'd be mad too.
Yeah.
With that offensive line, the way he was getting mauled back there. There was that one play in Dallas where it was a 2-point conversion. I was at a bar in Austin, Texas, and everyone did the Cobra with like the hand over the head, like, oh, like this big, oh, the gas, because they thought he was buried, right? But the young man got back up and showed a lot of moxie. So I guess the frustration from the offense losing, he's never lost this much before. And so that's an adjustment. But I think that with each game, and each press conference, now he realizes I'm the man, and I know things are going to get better. So all of it's learning, all of it's growing pains.
Timmy Whisper, do you have any questions over there?
Oh,
Tim,
are you awake?
sure.
Tim, you all right?
Tim always does this research.
I was totally with you, Hoodie, on that. But so most people don't know some details about your long, distinguished career here, that you went from getting beef sandwiches for Mike Greenberg, when over at the days of XRT next to the Score, to finally becoming David Kaplan's security guard because he's afraid to leave the studio these days. And but lastly, you know, Stacey and I don't prepare for this show at all. And that comes from something you used to talk about. You never want to walk into a place with predetermined opinions, because you end up with that not so fresh feeling.
That's exactly right. That's right. That's why God made Walgreens, so I don't have that not so fresh feeling. You got to have that. The point is, though, with Mike Greenberg, which is a great story, is like, I'm a kid from the South Side. I know that that's become like this common phrase from comedian Deion Cole to Derrick Rose, right? Just a kid from the South Side. But I'm a kid from the South Side. And so Mike Greenberg, when we worked on 4949 West Belmont, when I was at the Score, he goes, Hoodie, I just need you to get me a beef. I need you to get me a beef and fries. And it's at 6 Corners. Now, again, I'm a kid from the South Side. Don't know anything about the North Side. I go to 6 Corners, and it's 6 corners. It's actually 6 corners, 6 different directions, and I have no clue of what he's talking about. I actually, an hour later, I bring back the beef, and he goes, my beef's cold. What happened? I said, hey, man, I don't know. They gave me a cold beef. I can't help it. I don't know why it's cold. Ultimately, the reason why it was cold is because I got lost going back to the station because I had no idea where I was going. So that's how my career started. No microwave at the station, by the way.
Man, I didn't know Greenberg was such a prima donna back then. I mean, I remember when I first met him, he was like a young Bears reporter for the Score at the old Hallis Hall, and he was scared as a young reporter could possibly be, just trying to ask anybody who would listen to him, "Hey, you got any advice? Who should I talk to? Which players are media friendly?" And now the guy could buy and sell me 5 times over. It's an amazing story.
Right.
Isn't it?
I was gonna say $20 million later.
Yeah. I remember you used to carry the old tape recorder with the microphone.
Yeah,
and you used to get hits from us when the Score first came out. The Monsters of the Midday, like, Stacey, can you do this hit for me?
Yeah.
And that's when we did everything for free. You know,
Right,
we
right.
didn't know any better. And so we would do hits for him, you know. And to see him come, I've been on this show numerous times, to see Mike come from where he started from and to where he's at now has been amazing. And it's just like all of us. I mean, you started at a certain place, and now, you know, you're one of the big voices in Chicago now. So it's amazing to see your journey and all the people that we've seen grow up through the business.
Yeah, God bless them all. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely.
And
When
Cap
you
can't leave
can
the
be
studio
able to
now.
get, what's that, Tim?
I said Cap can't leave the studio now without you, which is really sad.
Wow. I just think that he needs me so he knows where to go. I have to show him where his car is. I mean, this is this is Mr. Magoo right here. We're talking about here. This is Magoo. So here you go, Cat. Here you go. This is actually your vehicle right here. See, this is where you drove this morning. You know,
You live in Deerfield. Head north.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have to help him out. So I'm not a security guard as much as it is just trying to help a senior out. Just trying to lead him by the hand, Tim. That's what I do here. Again, that's also part of my contract, trying to lead my friend to the right direction. So he might be talking about being in great shape and all that, but still, I got to help him out sometimes. He's got a lot of stuff on his mind.
Hey, Hoodie, last thing before we let you go, I know that you do some great celebrity voices. Our guy here, Tim Kelley, does a spot on Christopher Walken, and we'll let him do it in a second. But in the last segment, he got cocky. He said, you know what? I've been doing Christopher Walken every week, and you know I'm kind of tired of it. I'm gonna do Mike Tyson doing our hot sauce read, and it just bombed.
It was
we have a chat going. You know, we're live on YouTube, and one guy said Timmy sounds more like Cartman if he had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Hoodie,
you know,
it was
if
the
you're gonna
worst.
try impersonations, Hoodie, you got to get it right. Wouldn't you say?
I would say so, but Tim, I'm going to defend you because people say, like, all right, so one of the great impressions is Stacey doing Bill Cartwright.
Yeah.
So that's one of the best that I've heard. Right. That's been also his Doc Rivers. Stacey's very good at that. I don't know if you guys heard that as well. But Tim, tell these people, tell them these are more caricatures than impersonations, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's close,
It's
but
about inflections
sometimes
and
it's
timing, not the voice.
Well, right. You're just adding on to it, right? It's like what you see on Saturday Night Live. It may not be the actual voice, but sometimes it's just making something a little bit more entertaining than the actual person. Right?
Speaking of Saturday Night Live, give our guest a little bit of Christopher Walken.
So, Hoodie, it's great to meet. And I'm so glad that we share the same opinions about the Bears, the Bulls, and some porn stars that we know in common. I appreciate that.
Wow. Way to mess up a happy home. Wow, Tim. Oh, J Hood is now divorced. He's joining Tom Brady.
It
Thanks,
wasn't
Tim.
Tim.
Just
it was
like
me.
whispers.
Wow. Christopher Walken. Wow. Snitch. Snitching out. Dropping dime on him. Oh, wow.
I love it. That's good. You know what, Tim? I think that's excellent. Don't let him get you down, Tim.
Oh, thanks.
Keep doing what
I
you're doing.
appreciate the support.
This is the only confidence he has talking. That's why we call him Whispers, because he doesn't talk. He never talked until he started being Christopher Walken. That's his alter ego. That's the only time we get him to talk, J Hood.
That's when he's got some confidence. Is Christopher Walken.
Yeah, now I do it at the grocery store.
Give me a pound of salami.
Could you tell me where the bear section is at? I'm thirsty.
I love it. Good job, Timmy. I love it.
Jay, what are some of your favorite celebrity impersonations you've done over the years?
To me, it's just always people on sports radio. It's people
Yeah.
I work with, and just like like Mark Silverman is easy to do because Sylvie's just it's always so what's going on, Guado? How are you? So Do you really think that possibly Schwarber will ever hit for power? Right, Waddle? Right? 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 And so it's always that. It's you just get it from a certain place and you just kind of just bring it up from there, So
the bulging neck muscles.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, yes.
Like scanners. Like his hair's going to explode.
Exactly.
What about your days back at the Score with Mike Murphy, who also worked over at ESPN later in his career? Did you do a Murph?
Yeah. Mike Murphy was a very odd person. I've just got through therapy on my last week. It was my last week working with Murph, so I'm good now. My therapy working with him, but he would just say, "Hey," he would say a lot of things like, "Hey, what's going on over here with the Chicago Cubs? I don't understand this. What's going on with the Cubs? They're just not very good. Son of a bitch." Just stuff like that. Just things like that. Just you just always had the head of just tilted a certain way and just always the accusatory finger. What's going on here? I don't understand.
And he could be tough on the young producers, couldn't he?
Oh, sure. But that makes you stronger, though. Or at least for some people. I'm still here. Still here. Others have kind of are someplace outside asking for change outside of McDonald's, but I'm still here.
Hey, one of our young producers here, Nicky Knuckles, works at ESPN 1000 now. I don't know if he's visited the morning show yet, but he's done. Have you? He called me Charlie, I think. Charlie? Well, that's a good name for you. I think Charlie works for you.
Charlie Knuckles.
Can you see him?
Can you see Nicky Knuckles? I don't know if you were spotted in that camera.
You didn't get in there.
You choked.
Camera.
You had your chance to be on camera.
Hey,
you choked.
Just act like you're peeking through somebody's window, you creep.
Yeah, you've done that before.
Yeah, you creep.
The watcher.
Creeper, the watcher. Yeah.
Well, now we're officially off the rails. Jay Hood, we know you got a morning show to prepare for. Thank you so much for being generous with your time and joining us here on Gimme the Hot Sauce. We love you.
Thanks for having me, guys. What? Right? Thanks for being on the show. Is that what you're saying, Waddle? Right?
Oh, yeah.
The one and only Jay Hood joining us on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Thanks, Jay Hood.
Thank you, guys.
Stay up, Jay.
We're back, episode 106. Give me the hot sauce. Timmy Whispers trying to dig himself out of a deep hole, but he can't do it. He keeps trying.
He fell in.
Yeah.
I know, it's ludicrous. I won't even say it.
It's ludicrous, yeah. How would Mike Tyson say ludicrous?
How would Mike Tyson say it?
Ludicrous. But don't worry, I'll bring it back. I'll be prepared next time.
You got a homework assignment. Work on that.
Yeah. No, you got
bring it back in a few weeks.
You got another assignment. Don't ever bring it back. How about that? Don't ever bring it back.
I think the chat is pretty much in agreement.
Yeah, it's just retired. It's a retired.
I got to redeem myself, though.
No, redeem yourself at home with Mrs. Kelley, Marine.
Wow, now you're getting into my personal life? Let's see some more.
McFly.
Wow. 30 years of abuse. It never ends.
Hey.
Now he's dragging the
Tim.
family. Hey, why don't you come over and kick my dog?
Listen. That's right. Hey, he's got a big dog. What's your dog name?
Asshole.
This guy.
Whispers too.
We just lost another sponsor.
Yeah.
No, it's the name of the dog is Karma. And you know what they say Karma is?
But it's Karma.
A bitch.
Okay.
Karma's
This
a bitch.
This guy's off the rails, Mark. Get us back on the rail.
Wow.
He's out of control over here.
The dog growls and bites everybody and just loves Stacey right away.
Yes.
Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, the dog does bite people. Seriously. Like
Just
the
bought
dog.
Quinn,
what
my
kind of
brother.
dog is it? What kind of dog is it?
Your brother
go.
bites people?
Well, he does too.
That's
but
kind of messed
they
up.
bite each other.
He did a Marv Albert on the back. Oh,
Oh, wow. Poor Marv. Here we go with Marv.
no, his dog. The dog
Yes.
is the dog is huge.
And it
dog,
counts.
Yes. Yes. Okay, y'all.
Incisors? Yes.
Okay, America, we done got out there. Line two,
we
Marv
got
Albert.
You know what we're
Line
going to
two.
do to reel this thing back in?
Reel it back in, Mark.
You come to expect great analysis from Stacey King
Yes,
on
you do.
basketball, but he's also an expert in baseball and football, and he gave the Bears perfect advice a few weeks back on what they should do with
He's a
Justin
professional
Fields.
analyst.
He is a professional analyst.
I feel like they need to take the training wheels off and let him play. Just let him throw it around the yard, and when they let him go, he is a really good quarterback. But it seems like after they let him throw a 60-yard bomb, they come back and say, let's just dink and dime now and go back to being a basic offense.
There you have it. Stacey King telling the Bears exactly what to do. Although, Tim, it sounded like that was a 45 record being played on 78.
Yeah.
A little quick.
Who did the audio quality on that? Where's the QA?
Wow.
I thought maybe
I'm sorry.
Stacey's shorts were too
Get
tight.
some nods over
You know
there.
what? Listen, you know what?
Someone just spit in my brewski.
See, America.
You'd like some hard candy?
America.
With some
America.
lint.
America. This is what I got to deal with. You know, it all started when I was on Montana's 10 Most Sexiest Men, and they turned on me then. They're turning on me now. They see that my voice is gone, and you know, Tim in his terrible rendition of Mike Tyson has ruined the show for today. I just want to throw that out there. Just ruined the show. We lost a lot of our listeners because of his poor Mike Tyson.
And 2 sponsors. Don't forget that.
And 2 sponsors. Reel us back
It
in,
wasn't
Mark.
just that it was bad. People were offended.
Yeah,
They were insulted.
Mike Tyson on line 3. He's on line 3 ready to kick his ass for even attempting to do his voice, okay? Yeah. I
Actually,
said
Mike's the kind of guy who enjoys that.
Yeah, you know him really well.
Yeah, okay.
Not as well as Stacey.
Oh, yeah, I do know Mike. I do know Mike.
True.
I
So I
do
got
know.
to have him on. I may have ruined that.
Hey, listen.
So much for a chance of getting him on the show,
Listen,
right?
I can get him on the show. Don't sleep. Hey, me and Mike, we spent some time together when I was in college. We played UNLV my senior year in college, and he came. He was the new heavyweight champion at the time. He was like 20, 21 years old, so he was our age. And so after the game, Don King was trying to get me to sign with him because he was getting into the basketball realm.
That's right, Stacey.
Jesus Christ. Okay, this dude just ruined the story. He just ruined the damn story. Please stop doing Mike Tyson's voice. It's horrible. Oh, my God. So anyway, before I was rudely interrupted by Cartman, so after the game, he comes in the locker room, Mark, and he's like, you know, I'm doing it because I had 49 points, the most points ever scored in Thomas Mack Arena, and it's still a record to this day. I just want to throw that out there, America, because the only person who could guard me in the NBA was Phil Jackson. I'm gonna throw that out there too. So anyway, so Mike Tyson's in the locker room, he's all excited, you know. So he said, hey, you know, Stacey, I want you to go out with me tonight. Boom, 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 and I'm like, Mike Tyson, the champion? Yeah. So I went out with him. So all our teammates went. He got us all limos, which is probably an NCAA violation.
Oh, definitly.
But you know what? It's a 20-year statute of limitations.
What are they going to do about it now?
What are you going to do about it now?
Yeah.
NCAA.
No phone cameras.
Yeah. So we go out with this guy, and the coolest guy. And he told me not to sign with Don King. Don't do it. Don't sign with him. Don't do it. Don't do it. And so when he told me that, I was like, well, no, you're with him. Well, so he's like, don't sign with him.
How did he say it?
I'm not gonna say his
No,
voice.
we're not gonna
I'm not
reenact
doing
that whisper.
No,
He's a good impersonator, too.
No, I'm not gonna do his voice. No, I'm not gonna do Mike Tyson's voice, America, because I can't. Because I'm trying to keep my own voice right now. But it was the coolest thing hanging out with him. Like he was like one of us. And I remember running into him probably 3 or 4 years ago on his Sirius XM, because I was doing Sirius XM in New York. So when I would come to New York, I would go do the show with Frank Isola in the studio at the Sirius XM. You'd run in, you know, you see Howard Stern. It was pretty cool. And you walk into the lobby of the Sirius XM and you see like literally like, you know, all these people, like these acts, jugglers, and there was more than there's porn stars. It was I'm telling you, groupies. Oh, Mark. Mark, I'm telling you that it was amazing. But
We're taking the show to Vegas, ladies and gentlemen.
We need to have a lobby like that here at the Sriracha Studios, where we just have like jugglers and people to train dogs, and then have some women, you know, come in here and, you know, and bring
All
some
right,
Hooters
Maddie, you got
wings.
your next assignment.
Yeah,
That's
you know, we need Hooters wings. Hooters, if you're out there, we're looking for Hooter girls to bring us some wings, and we'll advertise it here on the show.
Yeah, Mike Tyson will be here.
Yes.
That's right.
That is beyond bad.
That is the worst.
What you
That
gave
is the
me?
worst Mike Tyson.
You know, you gave this.
I just wish.
I mean, you're so good doing Christopher Walken. I thought
That's all he could do.
It would have to be at least decent.
That's all he could do.
You know,
is
this
good.
might be one of those deals where there's no reason to improve it because it's so bad. It's good.
I think maybe if I throat punch him, Mark, he might really sound like Mike Tyson if I throat punch him. So I think we just need to retire Mike Tyson like we retired your T-shirt.
Oh my goodness!
Put it up there on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, the voice of Mike Tyson up on the
My
wall.
old crusty Forest Grove shirt.
Yeah, we decided not to do that either. No one needs to see that.
I'm going to put it up there.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Yes.
You have no pull on the Gimme the Hot Sauce show.
I'm going to put it in a glass
Except
case,
a
shadow box.
hamstring. That's the only thing you're pulling is a hamstring, buddy. Mark, get us back on the rail. This guy's taking us off.
There's a big UFC card coming up this weekend. Tell the folks about it, Stace.
Oh yeah.
We know your kids will be coming over to watch it on your dime,
I've
right?
already got the phone call. I already got the phone call like 20 times talking about, Dad, we're coming over, get the Lou Malnati's, pizza, the beer, and all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. You got a middleweight championship fight. Israel Adesanya versus.
Are we gonna make predictions?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, they're right there. Oh, see right there. Adesanya is like considered one of the pound-for-pound best guys. He's fighting the guy, Alex Pereira, who beat him twice in kickboxing. This guy is a monster. He's only had 3 UFC fights, but they brought him here to fight him because Adesanya is kind of just cleaned out the division. He's beaten everybody in his division. He's been the most dominant middleweight in a long, long time. And so this guy, they feel like, can give him a good match. He's 6'4". He knocked him out. He knocked him out in kickboxing, and that's hard to do in kickboxing. He knocked him out cold, like a stiff board. So this is a huge fight for the UFC, and so I'm anxious to see that. Put that card back up there, guys. Sriracha guys.
So what's your prediction on that?
I'm going Adesanya's going to win that one, and then
Pereira in 3.
You want to bet?
Let's just write them down now.
Okay, go ahead and write. Get the predictions, guys.
Get our parlays.
Okay, so I got Adesanya winning the fight. He's got Pereira winning. Mm-hmm. Okay, second guy. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm going with Willie, the Chinese knockout artist.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm going with her.
That's a no-brainer.
I'm going with Chandler beating Dustin Poirier.
That's only if it's the first round.
I'm going with Chandler.
Only if it can be the first round.
No, it's not going to be the first round.
You think? So what round are you picking?
No, because Poirier's not. Poirier's going. It's going to go the distance. I think it's going to be a war.
I'm going Poirier in 4.
That's a good bet. I'm going with Chandler in that one.
Chandler would have to be a first round.
Okay, Frankie Edgar. This might be Frankie. I think this is Frankie Edgar's last fight in the UFC. They gave him a tomato can, to fight.
He retired once already, right?
Yeah, he retired a couple times.
Yeah.
But he'd never been knocked out. But he got knocked out his last couple times in the thing. Now Dan Hooker. Yeah, I got
like
him.
In that. Yeah.
I got him. Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's a beast. He got beat by
Chandler and Poirier.
Yeah, and Poirier. But he's a beast, man. He's about 6'4". He's really long,
bigger than
athletic.
He is,
he's a lot. He should be probably fighting light heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got a good stand-up game, and I think he's going to just beat up old Claudio.
So forget about all the predictions you hear on the air. You got them right here on Gimme the Hot Sauce. So
and
take that to the window.
We will replay these next week to see who won.
Hey, what happened to our guy T.J. Dillashaw? I heard he had to have surgery. I mean, he was such a great guest. We had him on Gimme the Hot Sauce a while back.
TJ he got hurt in training camp. That's the one thing about the UFC.
They make you fight.
They make you.
Yeah.
You got to fight, and so he hurt his shoulder in training
still
camp.
went through with
so
the
he
fight.
went in. He went into the fight in a championship fight against what's his name? The little guy he fought for the championship.
Oh shoot. Not a
Alamay Starling.
Yeah, but
Nicky.
you talk about the joke about fighting with one hand tied behind your back, and that's what he's doing.
He fought with a dislocated shoulder,
Yeah.
and he fought to the very end. So I give him a lot of credit for showing up, fighting. But that was tough. It was tough to watch.
He was a great guest too.
He was a great guest.
If you get a chance, check out our interview with T.J. Dillashaw on a past episode of Gimme
He's
the
still
Hot
a
Sauce.
champion in my mind.
Yeah, no question.
Master of unknown combinations, as they call him.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What did he just throw?
Yeah.
Hey, people love chaos in the world of sports, and we have it in college football after Alabama and Clemson both went down to defeat last weekend. So now we have a top 4 of Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU is undefeated out of the Big 12. It's going to be strange to see how this all shakes out. TCU has some tough games coming up. I don't know if they're going to make it all the way into the Final Four, but at some point, Georgia's going to have to play most likely LSU in the SEC championship game. So it's going to be crazy to see how this all shakes out, Stace.
Georgia is clearly the top team. Which a team you don't see that's gonna give some people some problems is Oklahoma Sooners. We don't see them out there right there.
What?
Where are they at?
Where'd they come in this week in the
they
rankings?
lost? Oh, we're 5-4.
But they can make a run now.
Hey, listen, America, listen. I didn't go to Oklahoma. I lied, okay? I went to Georgia. We're number 1, all right? We're the Georgia Bulldogs. Go Dogs,
Wow.
go. Go Dogs, go, okay? So those poor Sooners, man. I hope they get their act together. But but hey,
New
big
coaching
win.
staff, give them some time.
Big win for Notre Dame beating Clemson.
Yeah.
No one thought that. And then LSU, Mark, I mean, they were at home, and they're a pretty good football team. That quarterback who transferred from Arizona State is a good quarterback. And to win in overtime, going for the 2-point conversion, that took a lot of balls, man. I mean, give Brian
Kelley, the old
Brian
Notre
Kelley,
Dame coach.
that was a big against an Alabama defense who's not the same as it's always been. They're giving up too many points. I mean, their offense could score against anybody in the country, but their defense, this might be one of the worst Alabama defenses I've seen in years as far as the first-round talent that we're so used to seeing. They're giving a lot of points up this year.
Now what looks like going to shape up is that Tennessee really doesn't have a chance to get into the SEC championship game, so their season will probably end with them being 11-1. In the Big Ten, Michigan and Ohio State could be undefeated when they play on Thanksgiving weekend. Does the Big Ten get 2 teams in?
Mm-hmm. No.
I think they do.
No, absolutely not. No.
Think Tennessee gets in? Is the 4th
team?
team?
If Tennessee is a one loss team, they get in.
Yeah, so
they get
Tennessee, Georgia.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, I see Michigan beating Ohio State. Where are they playing? The Big House?
No, it's in Columbus this year.
I still think Michigan's gonna win. Michigan, the way they control the tempo, as far as like they run the ball, they pound you. Those 2 running backs, they got 2 different running backs with 2 different styles. Their offensive line is huge, and then they can play action pass. They got some, but I do like the receiver for Ohio State, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
looks like Randy Moss out there. I love that kid, man. And the quarterback is good too. CJ Stroud.
Wait a minute, he looks like Randy Moss. He doesn't look like his dad.
No, he's bigger than his dad. He's bigger than his dad. But when you look at him on the field, take away his last name. The way he runs, and he's long and lanky, he can go up and get the ball and at the highest point.
He's been on You've Got Mossed.
Yeah, he's a talented receiver, man. And that quarterback Stroud, he's a legit too. That's a first-round talent.
He had trouble throwing it in the wind in Evanston last week.
Well, that. I mean,
it's crazy.
No one could have threw it in. I don't even think a pro quarterback would have been able to do that. So to see. Again, you have to have a running game. If you don't have a running game in those kind of conditions, which they do, they had a good running back. Give Northwestern credit too. I mean, they always seem to play these good teams really, really tough, but they always just come up short.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey,
it's like Timmy's Mike Tyson.
I'm just laughing at something I saw in the chat. The sign guy says, "My dog eating peanut butter does a better Mike Tyson."
Oh wow! Depends on where sign guy is putting that peanut butter. Sign guy, what you doing? You freak! You freak!
Wow!
Where else would you give a dog peanut butter? Oh,
man,
sign
these
guy.
banners look good, but come on, where you putting that peanut butter?
Where you putting that peanut butter at, boy?
Hey, last thing before we get out of here, people are always counting on us to give them some recommendations on what they should watch in case they're at home and looking for something to watch late at night. Whispers, we'll start with you. What do you got for the folks?
I had nothing.
Debbie does Dallas.
I started. You told me about The Watcher. That's terrifying. You were right. That Florida story.
Yeah,
it all ties in now. I'm pretty sure the neighborhood's
I think that
me.
show was based on your experience.
Yes.
Yeah, but I did watch the new Fletch.
What'd you think of that? I saw the trailer for that.
I actually really enjoyed it. I was. John Hamm normally plays a total dickhead in the roles he plays. He's very good at it. And but in this, he plays a kind of a self-effacing guy that is very charming. Mm-hmm. And they put some bodysuit on him, so they have some weight to him.
What platform is that run on for the folks that are looking for it?
I think it was on Paramount and just on demand.
Okay.
Stacey,
what do you got?
America. I'm telling you, I saw The Barbarian. We see it right there, The Barbarian. It was my son turned me on to it.
That's a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie. It's on, I think it's on Prime. It's on Prime. And it's a scary movie.
But rated X?
Oh, geez, this guy here. Anyway, that's a good movie. I'm gonna go see. Listen, I'm gonna go see the Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom.
I'm gonna go see that tomorrow. Okay.
We'll get that review next week.
Hey, America, guess what's coming? Guess what's coming next?
Black Panther 3?
No, shut up, Tim. Yellowstone.
That's right, Sunday.
Yeah. It's a 2-hour special of Yellowstone. So if you haven't watched Yellowstone,
I'll be watching that.
Make sure you watch Yellowstone. It's awesome. Okay. And then let me think. There was another movie I wanted y'all to see too. I don't remember right now. It just slipped my mind. It slipped my mind what I wanted y'all to watch. It's not porn or anything like that. So.
Right. Sure it isn't.
That's when,
That's why you're. I can't remember what it was. It was on the AVN channel.
While you think about that, I've got one for the folks. The Patient. It's on Hulu. You know Steve Carell from The Office and all the crazy movies he was in, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Anchorman.
Yeah.
This is a story where he plays the therapist who is treating a serial killer who wants to get better, and the serial killer takes him hostage. And he tries to talk his way out of this whole situation.
It's kind of like what Tim's going to do to you, Mark.
It's a 10-part series. It is creepy, it is deep, and it's really well done. And Steve Carell does a great job in it. So if you get a chance, check it out on Hulu.
I thought you were talking about that Ray Fiennes movie from years ago when he was the English patient.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, that's not. This is a different one. This is a creepy one.
Yeah.
So
Pull up your punches, Tyson. What are you doing over there?
Exactly.
Then I'll probably tune in if it's creepy and deep, like Mark said.
Or when Nicky comes around, peeks around the corner like he's looking through somebody's window. He saw you did J Hood. Hi, J Hood. That was creepy, Nicky. I was just gonna say that was creepy.
He was starstruck.
Yeah.
That happens.
They call him the Watcher around here.
He's the watcher.
Hey, Whispers, tell everybody about your good friend Angel Water.
Oh, Chief Little Legs.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me do this as.
No, this is revised copy, so you
do
got to
this.
sell it, all right?
Let me do this as Roberto Duran.
No mas. No mas.
Exactly. That's all he's gonna say.
Do you want toxic chemicals in your water? Well,
Yeah,
neither
sure.
do we.
Baba Booey.
Oh, here we go. That is why we only drink Angel Water here in the Hot Sauce Studio. They're the healthiest water around. They will even come to your home and test your water for free. You heard that right. For free. They will come and give you a free consult on how healthy your water really is. Who wrote this? Jeez,
That would be
Who wrote
Maddie.
this?
Come on now.
Grammatical errors.
Is that your
Stay hydrated all year
niece?
long.
That's
So you can trust Angel Water. Call 847-382-7800 to get your water tested for free today.
Is this a new ad right here?
Yeah.
I mean, did
Yeah, we
read
changed it, but there's some.
Man, is that chapter 6?
So, Tim, who should they ask for when they call that number?
Chief Little Legs.
An English teacher, because there's some grammatics here we got to work on here. But ask for Chief Little Legs.
Yeah. He'll be behind the desk. You'll have to look over the
AKA
desk
Andy
to see
Wilson.
him. Andy Wilson.
Is he still in Florida?
He literally called right for the show, and he said, if you say that one more time, I am
He's
done.
pulling his sponsorship.
And here we are.
Yeah, we're doing it again because we know he won't because he's our good friend. Okay, he wears a size 2 in shoes and a size 4 in pants.
All right, Chief Little Legs.
And Stacey, is Mike waiting outside for you? Is he listening to the show?
Yes, and Mike probably went to go get some chicken.
All
You know, he always gets chicken. So shout out to my man Mike. Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy; it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic and get you to your destination in style and on time. Contact us at 847-916-9300. And you can go online and hit windycitylimos.com. And they've just done a great job. I've been traveling lately.
Yeah.
And Mike's had to come in, 2 a.m, pick me up, never complains. He's always on time. Somebody tried to get in the car the other day, put him in a chokehold and made him tap out because he's trying to get in the limo to get a ride home. Mike took care of him. Way to go, Mike. So I feel safe when Mike's driving me.
Does he have the Doubleman twins with him tonight?
No, you know what? He had the big red girls with him the other day. The
big red girls.
The big red girls.
All right.
And they had red hair, and they were big.
Yeah.
And were they big?
And I saw him in the Hooters calendar for 2023.
Listen. Mike is the man. Okay,
That's right.
Let me tell y'all something about Mike. Okay, Mike is a concert connoisseur. Okay, guess how many concerts Mike has been to
In his lifetime?
in his lifetime?
100?
Okay, no, over 500.
Wow.
Okay, he is a Bruce Springsteen fan. He is going to Ireland to catch a concert. He's going to Tampa to catch Bruce Springsteen. He plays Bruce Springsteen in the car. I make him turn it off. I'm like, you gotta turn it off. You gotta turn it off, Mike. But he goes to all these concerts. It's some of the stories that he tells is amazing. That's why I'm trying to get him on the show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring him in here, but Mike keeps like bobbing and weaving like Mike Tyson, but without the voice.
That's right.
Oh, Jesus. We see. Okay.
Just like whispers.
Like whispers. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man.
I wish I had one of those dog collars where you shock people. Like you shock,
Oh,
you
I
shock
saw,
Tim.
I saw how you goaded me into that. I saw it was,
And you fell
with
for it.
the look,
And
like-
you fell for it. He fell for it, too.
just like Tyson would say.
Yeah. Oh, I got him, America.
Oh, man.
Are we done with all the reads?
We're done.
Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure we got
So
everybody
what do you say
in.
now? Sorry, Mark, I stole your line. I'm trying to get him to commit to an ending.
Mark,
He's just leaving everything hanging. Time to bring it to a close. Episode 106 of Give Me the Hot Sauce. I want to thank our guest, Jay Hood. He was fantastic. You can catch him mornings, 7 to 10 on ESPN 1000. He also calls USC Flames basketball. I want to thank the Sriracha crew for doing a great job as always. And I want to thank Mike for watching out in the limousine, making sure that Stacey's going to get home safely today. Hopefully Stacey's got his voice back 100% next week. He's a trooper for getting through this one. We'll hear a first-hand review on Wakanda Forever next week, so you can look forward to that on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Thank you so much for watching and listening. A brand new episode coming your way next week. Stacey.
Drive home safely, Chicago. Beep, beep.
That's beautiful.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
City assassin does